Julien Donkey Boy is the second film Harmony Korines directed. There's no real plot to this film. It basically takes you inside the mind of the main character, Julien, who is schizophrenic. It's like a fever dream. You get to know his family, his dad played by German director Werner Herzog, who is the mean father and slightly abusive to him, and his pregnant sister Pearl, played by Chloe Savini. We find out that his mom died years ago, giving birth to his younger brother, but his sister calls him on the phone and pretends to be their mother. Julien spends a good amount of time visiting people at a mental hospital. Pearl has a miscarriage and Julien steals the dead baby and takes it home. That's pretty much it. There's some ice skating scenes and they go swimming, but it doesn't go anywhere. So Harmony Korines had a schizophrenic uncle named Eddie, and that's what inspired him to make this film. He wanted to have his uncle be the star of the film, but they couldn't get him out of the mental hospital, so he casted British actor Ewan Bremer. You might remember him from Danny Boyle's Transpotting, Alien vs Predator, and Snatch. He's a good actor, and he really jumps into the role. He spent a lot of time in the mental hospital with Harmony's uncle and listening to audio tapes so he could learn his mannerisms and put them into the film. He's believable as a schizophrenic person. Julien is a likable character. He doesn't really have any anger or ugly side to him. He's just like a little kid. He just wants to play and be happy. Harmony Korines also filmed this at his grandmother's house, which I think is just really nice, and it's a great way to remember his grandmother and childhood and keep that essence on film forever. Speaking of film, this film has a very unique look. It was filmed on several mini DV cameras, but the video footage was transferred to 8mm and blown up to 35mm using an optical printer. A few scenes of this film were used with hidden cameras to get real reactions from non-actors, like when Pearl is shopping or when Julien is on the bus, but the scenes go nowhere, so who really cares? Nothing special happens with the real people. The whole film has this home movie feel, like someone in Julien's family just picked up a camera and started filming. Some scenes it works. There is some interesting and good looking moments in the film. I really don't mind the look of the film. Some moments are kind of hard to look at, but it's just moments. What I don't like about the technical side of this film is the editing. Certain scenes have very quick cuts to show you the point of view of Julien, and it just doesn't work. It feels forced, but there's honestly not too many scenes like that. The best moments of this film is when he lets the scene breathe and we just sit with these characters. I honestly like these characters and wish we could have seen more of them. Two of my favorite scenes are when the man with no arms is playing the drums with his feet. It's such a random and strange scene, but also just as someone who plays drums, it's impressive. My second is when the black albino is rapping. That made me laugh out loud. But my favorite stuff is when Werner Herzog is being mean to Julien. He's just an interesting guy and takes over any scene that he's in. Harmony is a big fan of Herzog's films and says he was a big inspiration to him as a filmmaker. I've only seen a few of Herzog's films. Most are his American films, so I don't know the similarities with this and other Herzog films. I bought this DVD about 9 years ago and watched it once then. I was doing a lot of drugs back then, but I do remember not loving this film. But I rewatched it this week and I have to admit this was a real chore to get through. Honestly, it was just very boring to me. And I love Harmony Korines and all of his films. Nothing happens in this movie, but you can say the same thing about Harmony Korines' first film, Gummo, which is one of my favorite films of all time. If you watch my Gummo review, I talk about how in these couple of years of Harmony's life he was using a lot of drugs while he made his first few films. From what I've heard, during the filming of Gummo, he was out of control. But it worked out and he made a great movie. A lot of people love Gummo. Sure, many hate it, but it's a cult classic. I know some people like Julien Donkey Boy, and I wish I was one of them, but I'm just not. I wanted to like this film so much. I love Harmony as an artist, but this film just didn't work for me. I feel like Harmony made this movie when the drugs are really starting to get to him. Hey, I've been there. I've made some really strange and abstract music videos when I was a teenager and thought they looked so cool back then, and now I realize I was just losing my mind. I feel like someone should have sat Harmony down before he made this film and said, "Hey dude, you need to sober up. Just go home, get some sleep for a few days, then we can work on this film." But like I said, the concept of this film is that he takes you into the mind of a schizophrenic person, and it probably would feel something like this, so maybe technically it works as a concept, but not as a feature-length film. The point of the film is to be entertained, and I wasn't entertained. I didn't hate this film. Like I said, there were some interesting visuals and moments with the actors, but not enough to carry a 94-minute film. So that's my review on Julien Donkey Boy. Thanks for watching. Keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and follow me on Instagram, cinemajunkies_. Don't forget the underscore.
Then you know that I'm a black albino straight from Alabama. Yeah.